I'm gonna give you a few minutes, 30 seconds or a minute at most to get those and to come back to the Zoom room. So just take a few seconds to step away and to get your pen and your notebook, because this is a session where we're gonna do some work. We're gonna do some work. So let's get right into it. Today, we're talking about the currency of a growth mindset. And yes, mindset is a currency. And the ultimate ROI that you gain from intentionally investing in your mindset is growth and confidence. So yes, your mindset is a currency, and the ultimate ROI being that of confidence and growth. You see, there is a challenge today where every leader is seeking to leverage time. They're seeking leverage over time, uncertainty, and performance. But dare I say that leverage starts from within. Leverage starts from how you think. There is a passage in the Bible that says, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. Many of us misquote it and said, as a man thinketh, but it's not as a man thinketh, it's a man thinketh in his heart. And it's not the heart that pumps the blood, it's the one that is the seat of your consciousness. And so leverage starts from there. And so I have come up with a formula for a growth mindset. And I want to share that with you today, because that's the crux of the matter that we're going to be dealing with today. The currency of a growth mindset. And my formula is belief plus flexibility plus focus equal growth mindset, which again, the ultimate ROI is confidence. And you can take a screenshot of this formula, because here's the thing, you won't get this formula anywhere. You won't get it anywhere else, because this is actually a part of my proprietary MVP framework. Now, I want to share with you my definitions of belief, of flexibility, and of focus. And what those are, you may want to start writing down. You see, belief isn't just self-confidence. It's faith in your divine assignment. It's deciding that God's promise is more real than your past, your pain, or your performance. I'm going to say that one more time for you guys. Belief isn't just self-confidence. It's faith in your divine assignment. It's deciding that, that's the operative word, deciding that God's promise is more real than your past, your pain, or your performance. Now let's talk about flexibility. Let's define flexibility. Flexibility is about alignment and obedience. It's the ability to pivot without panic, knowing that your steps are ordered, even if your strategy must shift. And dare I say, your strategy will shift. It's not a matter of if, it will, because nothing that we do is actually guaranteed how we really want it to go. But flexibility is that ability for you to pivot without panic. And for me, that right there is the crux of it. Pivot without panic. Many times when we are pivoting, we're actually panicking, or we pivot based on fear or out of panic. And that comes out of scarcity. Focus. What does focus mean? Focus isn't hustle. Focus isn't hustle. It's obedience with clarity. It's stewardship. It's vision and refusing to dilute what God has called you to do. Focus means rejecting the noise and clinging to the voice that matters most. We live in a hustle culture where if you're not, especially as an entrepreneur, It is all about the hustle. You must be hustling. But focus is not about hustle. I was living in that hustle culture for a long time. But then I got clarity and I started to obey so that I can pivot without panic. Let's get into belief. Let's talk about belief a little bit because it is the core investment. Again, the formula belief plus flexibility plus focus equals a growth mindset. The ultimate ROI, confidence. Because here's the thing, if you don't know, if you don't believe, if you don't believe that you can grow, you won't pursue the assignment that has been given to you. If none of us believe that we can grow, we won't pursue that assignment that has been given to us. Now, I want to take this from the lens of corporate because I've been there myself. I've been there. And you know what I'm talking about. You know those courses that you have to do in corporate to maintain the status or the salary or at the end of the year. As a matter of fact, you do them so that at the end of the year, you can get a bonus. Or it is said that, your performance review looks good. And so I maybe you can relate, or maybe I was the only one. Maybe, just maybe, because maybe I'm talking to, a set of persons who were so perfect in all of their spaces. But I can say from experience in corporate, you do those development courses that you had to complete just to check a box. You're just doing just to check the box. It's not because you were so gung-ho on learning and growing, but if we are being honest, it was just to check the box so that at the end of the year, our performance review can say that we did it. We weren't always hungry to grow. I wasn't always hungry to grow. It was just to play the part, to comply, because in corporate, let's be honest, it's about compliance. It is about compliance more than anything else. But here's the thing. This is not a judgment on you or me or anyone else. This is just real talk. But I want to ask you this question. How many of you know that you can be actually open to a growth mindset, but you're not actually growing? You're not actually growing. You are actually operating from an overdraft belief account. That's what you're doing. Now, let me show you something. I want to show you something. I want you to have your pen and your notebook. That is why I said that this is a pen and notebook kind of session. So let me show you something about the word belief. You see, half of the word belief, and it is on the screen. The word belief is on the screen. You said belief, half of that word spells lie. Just look at it carefully. Half of the word belief spells lie. And 2/3 of it spell life, L-I-F-E. So, what are you getting at, Tanique? Well, every single day, your belief system is doing one of two things. You're either living a lie or you're breathing life into what God said about you. There is no neutral. You have a car, you have drive, reverse, neutral, park, 1, 2, 3, whatever is on that space in your car. There's no neutral in this belief. You're either living a lie or you're breathing life into what God has said about you. So your beliefs are either expanding your destiny or they're depreciating your identity. Again, your beliefs are either expanding your destiny or they're depreciating your identity. So let's go even a little bit further. Because here's the thing, every thought every decision, every action is either a deposit or a withdrawal. It is either you're making a deposit in your bank account of belief, or you're making a withdrawal from that account of belief. I want to talk to you about the word be, because we have be, we have lie, and we have life. So look at the word belief. We have be, we have lie, and we have life. Those are three words that we get from belief. So let's talk about the word be, because for a second here, be means to exist or be in existence. So when you say you believe something, you're saying that I exist in this truth. Again, you're either depreciating or you're appreciating. You're either living that lie or you're expanding your destiny with the truth that you know about yourself. Whether is it that you're a leader in the space of corporate, in the church, in your own business, you're doing that in your community organization, wherever you are leading from. What is it that you believe about yourself? What is that identity? Are your belief systems, the vehicle of belief that you have, is it driving you towards compound belief, compounding on the belief that you have, growth, or is it depreciating your identity? So I said, be is about being in existence. So when you say that you believe something, you're saying that you exist in this truth. But question, do you really believe that? Are you really existing in that truth? Because I had a moment recently. I had this moment recently. And this is real. I have some affirmations on my door, and where they're placed, I strategically place them there so that I can see them, like, when I wake up in the mornings. And I was about to start, reading the affirmations, because that's what we're told. That's what we're told in this personal development industry. Just read some affirmation, repeat some affirmations. And I was ready to repeat that affirmation. And I said, and this is one of the affirmation that I have up. And it says, I'm constantly developing a champion mindset to create my best life ever. And can I tell you, leaders, that the spirit checked me right there? Literally checked me. You see, the spirit said to me, that's not an affirmation. That is actually a principle. And you are not living that principle. You're just repeating the words. And I'm telling you that hit home so hard for me when I heard that voice said that to me, because I realized I was actually performing belief instead of investing the belief. So you know how we perform. We go to work and we perform, but we're not really investing in what we're doing. And this is what happened for me. I'm not going to say it happened to me. It happened for me so that I could have a different perspective on what growth and mindset looks like. So I'll ask you the same question I had to ask myself. Where in your life, or in my life, or in your life, are you affirming a belief you're not living? Where in your life currently? Just take a second to review your life and ask yourself, where is it that I'm affirming a belief that I'm actually not living? Because here's the thing, an investment in belief sets the tone for innovation. It sets the tone for intentional investment in your core belief account. Because you're either spending a scarcity energy or you're living it with compound. You're compounding the interest of belief by actually intentionally living and growing in that capacity. And so many of us, what we do is that we treat mindset like it is a luxury, but it is not. It is actually stewarding it like it is the capital that it is, like it is the asset that it should be. Again, you have appreciating assets and you have depreciating assets. And your mindset is an appreciating asset, but it can also be depreciating because what is it that you are putting in that space? What are you feeding it? What are you depositing in that space? What are you depositing in that account of your mindset? Just recently, I was hosting a LinkedIn Live, and one of the audience members said, our beliefs are unwanted gifts from our families and friends. And I agreed with her to a certain extent because many of us, we have a belief system. We have something that is driving us, which is our belief system, because your belief system is a vehicle that's moving you. It's either, again, depositing positively or depositing negatively. And so I want you to look at your beliefs, because here's the thing, I was in finance. I was in the financial industry for about 13 years. And so I got the first-hand experience of knowing when a note is fake from when a note is real. And so today, as we talk about belief, the core investment of your mindset, of your growth, of building your confidence, whether you are a champion in the boardroom, on the field, in the place of being, you're running your own business. Look at the currency of belief that you have. Look at the beliefs, put them under the light. Put them under the light and look at it. Is it a fake belief or is it a real belief? Because the fake notes, based on what I know about the fake notes, they look exactly like the real notes. And if you are not so versed in identifying when it is fake, it will fool you. But because I have first-hand experience, first-hand knowledge of knowing when a note is fake, I can easily detect by just feeling it. And so some persons, they have to put them under the light. And so I implore you today, look at those beliefs that you are depositing in your account of your mindset, the core investment, the core belief investment. Remember that your belief is your core investment. This is the foundation. And so put it under the light. Put it under the light to review it and ask yourself, is this a belief that is going to make my life, that is going to help me to pivot without panic, that is going to help me to be flexible in my thinking, that is going to help me to adapt and lead a global team to success, whatever that success may look like. You see, because again, you have to intentionally invest in your core belief of account, because your most important growth asset, is belief in self. And it requires intentional investment and deposits. It requires intentional investment and deposit. Many of us, we are here, we are flooded with the buzzwords. Growth mindset isn't a buzzword. It is actually an spiritual investment strategy. It is there For those of you who are believers, it is there in the Bible. The principles are there to invest. It says in Romans, it says, renew your mind. Renew your mind. And that is not just a one-time thing. It is about a continuous renewal. It is a continuous renewal. It is an investment strategy for you to keep renewing, keep investing in your belief system, keep investing in your growth mindset. Now, let's talk about the second part of this formula, flexibility. Flexibility is about alignment and obedience. It's about your willingness to adapt, to unlearn, and to relearn. It is about you knowing that you can't guarantee that everything will work according to your plan, but having the ability to pivot without panic. Knowing that you have the strategies, knowing that your steps are ordered, knowing that, yes, you may have to pivot. The strategy will change. However, the vision doesn't change. The goal doesn't change. But the vehicle that I use to get to the destination may change. The strategy that I'm going to be using to have this outcome may change. And I must be willing to adapt to that. I must be flexible enough to adapt to that. Flexibility, my friends, is not about being indecisive. It is not about being indecisive. Let me share this with you. If you know netball, if you know about netball, and I'm just going to use this as a quick example, that when in netball, Jamaica is usually in the top 3 countries for netball. And if you know anything about netball, whether it is the wing attack, the goal defense, the wing defense, whatever they are, when they receive that ball, they can't just run on the court like when you're playing basketball. In netball, you have to pivot, you have to plant your right foot firmly on the ground. And then you use your left foot to pivot and release that ball to your team member. And I use that analogy to say that pivoting is not about dropping everything or turning your entire thing around. It is about being flexible and knowing that, listen, I'm going to stand firm, but also I am going to release what needs to be released so that I can move forward to the goal. I can move forward in leading my team with confidence, with belief, knowing that I have the vision and they are going to help me. They're going to help the entire organization. They're going to help all of us to get to that end goal. Yes, we have to pivot, but it doesn't mean that the goal or the outcome is going to change. You see, flexibility is not a lack of direction. It is actually a strategic responsiveness. You strategically respond to when the storms of life come, to when the storms come, because it's not a matter of if, it is a matter of when. It is a matter of when things will go wrong. It is a matter of when things will change, when things will shift. And so, again, from a finance perspective, when there is a shift in the market, the financier moves with the market. They don't stay stuck because they know that the market goes up, the market comes down. The market goes up, the market comes down. And so when there is a shift in the market, what they will tell you as an investment advisor, you have a portfolio that they are managing for you. They're going to say to you, we are going to shift the strategy. We are going to shift some of the funds from this portfolio. We're going to put it in that portfolio so that we can keep growing your investment. It's the same thing with us, with our mindset. How flexible are we when things come upon us? Are we willing to adapt? Are we willing to unlearn some of the unhealthy mindset habits that are keeping us stuck so that we can relearn better habits to keep us growing, so that we can continue to make strategic moves, so that we know that as we continue, we're going to stay relevant in this space. We're going to stay relevant as a leader. We're going to stay relevant as we continue to grow our own mindset. It is a deposit that you're making. It is a deposit that we are making in our growth mindset. Flexibility. It's not about a lack of direction. It is a strategic responsiveness. You may be in this place right now as a leader, and you are wondering, how am I going to do this? But there are many leaders out there who have been strategic in their responses. If we look at, and we can look at companies who have gone out of business. Let's take, for example, Kodak. They didn't move with the time. They weren't flexible. They weren't adaptable. They weren't willing to unlearn and relearn when new technology came in, and that put them out of business. It is about being willing and able to be flexible. So when the market moves, you must do the same. Pivot without panic. Pivoting without panicking. And personally, I have had to learn this recently. This is a part of my own personal growth journey where I'm learning to pivot without panic, because panic comes from scarcity. Panic comes from fear. Panic comes from being anxious. When we're anxious, when we are scared, when we are fearful, when we're looking at the false evidence that is appearing real, when we're looking at the fake belief and thinking that it is real, it will cause us to panic. And it will cause us to make decisions that are not in alignment with our growth mindset, with our belief system, with where we need to go and how we need to lead in a time when people are looking to us, not just as motivators, but as a strong leader who is able to stand and to pivot, but also understanding in that pivot that we hold each other accountable. We're getting to the third aspect of this growth mindset, the currency of your growth mindset. Focus. Here's the thing. Great leaders, they don't do more. They actually focus on what matters. One person says, where attention goes, intention flows. And I actually like what Dr. Myron Golden said. He said it like this: most people fail not from a lack of potential, but from divided energy. Focus takes authority over your attention and points it where God's favor already flows. So we're not failing because we don't have the potential. We're not failing, or we're not, our asset is depreciated, not because we don't have the potential. It's because our energy is divided. And before I tell you what I've learned from the Apostle Paul in the book of Philippians, In 2024, the Spirit gave me the word focus for my word of the year. And every single letter of that word had a specific phrase or meaning to it. And so when we focus, it actually helps to multiply our wealth. It actually helps to create space for us to filter out the noise and to amplify our results. And I'm going to share what that meant for me in 2024. And it still carries over into 2025 because the lesson was not complete in 2024. It is a continuation. And the word focus came about with this meaning and intention. Faith in all circumstances. Did I have faith in all circumstances? Absolutely not. But that's what I should have had, but I didn't. And I'm grateful that I keep learning the lessons. Optimizing my time and energy. That is about filtering out the noise. Same thing that Dr. Myron says. We fail not because we don't have the potential, but because our energy is divided. So we need to optimize our time and energy. And the C was for being committed, being consistent. That will eventually grow my confidence. Because when we filter out the noise, when I allow my focus to take authority over my attention, and it points it to where God wants me to go, in that favor, where God's favor already flows, I'm going to start becoming more committed. I'm going to start becoming more consistent. And eventually, my ROI of confidence will definitely increase. And the U is for understanding when you need help, or understanding what to say yes to and what to say no to. Many of us as leaders, we feel like we need to say yes to everything. No. Again, it says that great leaders don't focus on everything. They don't do more. They don't, when they have a challenge, they don't just hold their heads down and try to do more than everybody else. They know what to release and what to keep. They know what to say yes to, and they know what to say no to, without attaching guilt. Let me put that in, without attaching guilt to it. Because when you deposit positivity, when you learn to deposit positivity, depositing your attention where it is needed, it is going to multiply your impact. It is going to multiply your impact. So, and the S is being selective, finding the support, being selective of that support group. So here's what I want to say that I've learned from the Apostle Paul in Philippians 3, verse 13. And he says, "No, dear brothers, I have not yet achieved it, but I focus on this one thing. One thing. I focus on this one thing, forgetting the past and looking forward to what lies ahead." Too many of us keep looking behind. Too many of us, our focus is behind us. We are driving, we are moving forward, but our attention constantly is in the rearview mirror, looking at what we leave behind. As a leader, as we continue to lead, whether in your church setting, in your organization, in the boardroom, on the field, in your nonprofit organization, in your community organization, wherever it is that you're leading, in the home, focus the attention on what lies ahead. You see, I'm not the biggest football player. I'm not the biggest football fan, but my sons are. And I have two brothers, one a Manchester United fan and the other a Liverpool football fan. My sons are Liverpool football fans. And when they are watching these games, they are so focused. Their attention is on the game. Remember, you would think that they are they have shares in these teams. You would actually think that, you know what, they are part owner or something. They have shares in it because they get so antsy, they get so caught up in the game. But here's something that I was reading recently about the championship of Liverpool Football Club for 2025. They have a leader, their head coach, Arne Slot. He focused, his attention was not about the matches that they played and they lost. His attention was not on the other teams. His attention was always one game at a time. What strategic moves can we make in this game? He wasn't boisterous, but when he spoke with intention. And so my question for you today is, what distractions are depreciating your growth? What distractions are depreciating your mindset? What distractions are depreciating your wealth multiplier? So if you were to actually look, take a moment to assess that your belief, your flexibility, your focus is a profit and loss statement. What would it look like? What would it look like? Will it be in the negative? Would your profit be in the negative? Yes, negative profit. You're not making any profit at all because you're spending more. Your expenses are more than your income. So look at it. Look at it from that lens. Fellow friends, you see, our mindset isn't fixed. It's not fixed. It is actually financed. And so whether you believe it or not, you can either be operating in overdraft, sufficiency, or abundance. And before I get into this, as I said, I was in finance for a little while. And so as we looked at clients, we have had to sit down with clients and help them to finance their business so that it moved from overdraft to sufficiency, where they could move from sufficiency to abundance. Because the decisions that they were making kept them in overdraft. And so as we move into our mindset isn't fixed, it's finance. I'm going to ask you, are you operating? The decisions that you're making, are they keeping you in overdraft? Because every decision, it is either making a deposit or it is making a withdrawal. Here's the thing. Your mindset is either building your spiritual credit score or it is overdrafting your purpose. I'm going to repeat that for you. Your mindset is either building your spiritual credit score or it is overdrafting your purpose. Because every thought you think is either a deposit in your divine destiny or a withdrawal from your potential. And I believe that many of us are wondering, Why is it that my next level is not showing up? Why is it that my next level in my leadership is not showing up? Like I feel like I'm being passed over. I feel like I'm being overlooked. But the truth is, you and I have been financing fear. We have been financing fear. You and I have been investing more in doubt than in destiny. That's what we have been financing. So you're either making a deposit, a positive deposit, not a fake deposit, but you're making a positive deposit in your bank of belief or in your account of belief, in your account of flexibility, in your account of focus. You're either financing those to grow or you're financing them that they're going to be withdrawn. And so doubt is that thing that kills many dreams. And so if your thoughts were a budget, look at your budget. What would your statements look like right now? Are you making daily deposits of gratitude, of obedience, of who God says I am? Are you making affirmations, positive affirmations, but not just making those affirmations? Remember the story I shared to you earlier, where I had to check myself when I was about to repeat that affirmation? So affirmation is not just buzzy. They are actually principles, life principles that can help us to grow our leadership capacity in whatever way, shape, or form that may look like, wherever you are leading from in this context, in this moment. Not just repeating those affirmations because we are told to, but actually living those affirmations. And so it's either we are doing those deposits or we're making withdrawals with doubt and fear. We're financing those by letting imposter syndrome and scarcity and trauma rob our accounts. Because again, mindset isn't fixed, it's financed. And your spiritual equity grows when you show up and steward what God gave you, even if you don't feel ready. A lot of times we don't feel ready. We don't feel ready for that position. We don't feel ready that we can step into that leadership role. But you are ready. You already have what it takes. Someone else has seen your potential. So let today be the day you log into your mental account and say, I am done funding fear and I'm going to invest in faith. No more time for funding the fear and the doubt and the imposter syndrome. It's time that we invest in our beliefs, in our flexibility, and in our focus, so that the ultimate ROI is a confidence. We're gonna have a growth mindset, but the ultimate ROI that we're gonna have is the confidence to know that we can grow, we can do more than we think we can. We are not limited. We're only limited to the degree that we limit ourselves. So your account will grow to the limit that you place on yourself, your account. So your spiritual account, your mental account of belief, flexibility, and focus will only grow to the extent that you allow it to grow. Because we have to intentionally invest in it. We have to intentionally finance it. That's what will happen when we decide to grow our mindset. But yes, there is a cost. What will it cost you? It's going to cost you to stay fixed. We talk about financing the doubt, the fear, the scarcity, or we're going to invest in our flexibility, our focus, our belief, in our confidence, in our growth mindset. Invest in faith. Or are we going to still finance those? Because when we stay fixed, when we keep in a fixed mindset, it's going to cost us innovation. You're going to lose your innovativity. You're going to lose your creativity. You're going to lose it. And so you're not going to feel the drive to keep going, to keep growing, because you are fixed. Your mindset is fixed and you are operating from an overdraft position. Your credibility is going to feel like it's being eroded. You're going to start having depreciation of self-trust, and you're going to lead to leadership burnout. But not only that, not only are you going to lead to burnout, but you're going to burn out those who are around you as well. They're going to start operating from a place of deficiency. They're going to start depreciating because they're not going to see the value to grow. They're not going to see the value in growth. And so they're going to depreciate. They are going to depreciate, and they're not going to make the level of commitment that is required to keep the leadership flag growing high. So it's going to cost. It might be costing you right now, but you can switch that around. You can start again putting the beliefs under the light. Hold it up to the light to see if is this a real belief or is this a fake belief? Because here's the thing, you have the receipts, right? You have receipts. I have receipts here. I have receipts there, right? And this is proof that I bought something and I can take it back to the store. This is proof of what I paid for it. And so our beliefs, we can either have the receipts that we have done it before and we can do it again, or we're using rhetoric, negative self-talk, fake beliefs. The rhetoric are your fake beliefs. They look real, but they are not real. And so we hold those up to the light. Because when we start using the rhetoric, which is the fake beliefs, it erodes or it depreciates our self-trust. It leads us to burnout because we are always trying to hustle, or we lose credibility with self and with others. And our creativity starts to wane. So how do we move from the expense? How do we now start to invest in our mindset, in our growth mindset? We shift from the expense to the investment. We shift from the expense to the investment, because developing a growth mindset, investing in your mindset it's not an expense. It is actually an investment that is worth every single penny that you put in it. Because what some persons do, because this is a buzzy, trendy word, mindset and growth and motivation and empowerment, but it's not if we truly look at these things, they are not trendy. They have actually been around for a long time. But most people treat mindset like it is a luxury. Invested in your mindset is not a luxury. It is not something that you tap into every now and then. But if we actually want to steward a legacy, steward our legacy properly, mindset isn't optional. It's the currency of overflow. It is actually the currency of overflow. So if you're still budgeting your belief like it is in short supply, I want you to change that up. Change that up. Because if you're doing that, budgeting it like it is in short supply, you are actually already in the bankrupt state. You're actually operating from an overdraft state. But we can compound our growth. We can start compounding our growth, just like how you have compound interest, just like how you deposit a small amount, because shifting our mindset is not about doing the big things all at once. It is the small deposits that we make every single day. It's those daily intentional deposits. Just as if you had an investment account or you have an investment account and you intentionally make deposits every month, every week, the interest compounds. And by the end of a year, 2 years, 3 or 5 years, you see that this has grown. It is the same thing. And so you compound your growth. Your compound growth happens when you actually trust God's economy, when you sow belief, when you sow flexibility, when you sow focus consistently, not just, oh, every other 6 months or once a year, I put something in it. No. When you do it, when you sow your belief, when you sow your flexibility, when you sow your focus consistently, you get exponential returns. And so I have some challenge prompts for you. I have some prompts for you. Where are you leading from fear? Ask yourself, where are you leading from fear? Where are you managing? Are you leading your business? Are you leading your life? Are you leading your team? Where are you leading from fear? Or are you managing the trauma? Because fear is a false prophet. It will make it look like you are actually in the positive, like you're making a profit, but you're actually depreciating. You're actually operating from overdraft. It will convince you to shrink. Fear will convince you to shrink what God has called you to scale. So my question for you is, what or which account are you depositing into daily? Are you depositing so that you can increase your investment, double your investment in your mindset? And you double your investment in your mindset when you, let's even think about putting in 1%. If you decide every single week, I am going to invest 1% in my mindset. I'm going to invest 1% in my mindset account. What shift would you see? What is that shift that you would see? So what if you even increase that to 10%? What if you would shift even 10% of your daily mental space and reserve that for what God said about you, your life, your leadership, and your business? What would that ROI look like? What would that ROI look like if you intentionally invest to double your mindset investment? What would that look like? What would your business look like? What would your leadership look like? What would your life look like? Here's the thing. if your current belief system is not improving, if your current belief system is not creating an ROI, a positive ROI, because if it's not producing fruit, because that's what, when you invest, you're producing fruit. So if it's not producing fruit, it's not coming from the root. So I want you to stop treating mindset work like it is a nice to have. It is not a nice to have. It is a must. Start treating your mindset like an investment portfolio, because it is. And what does that portfolio make up of? Belief, flexibility, focus. And again, your ultimate ROI, growth and confidence. Because here's the thing, God doesn't multiply excuses, he multiply stewardship. He doesn't multiply excuses, he multiplies stewardship. And it is time to review your investment account. It's time to review your mindset investment account. The final 3 prompts that I have, that I want you to write them down, and I want you to answer these questions honestly. Which of the 3 mindset currencies is your strongest? For me personally, my strongest is my flexibility. I adapt quickly. I learn and I unlearn and I relearn. Which is your weakest? My weakest is focus, and I'm intentionally depositing in that space. I'm intentionally depositing. I'm intentionally making deposits, investments in that account of focus. And you want to ask yourself, what's one new habit that could increase my deposits? What's one new habit that could increase your deposits? Those are the reflection questions for you today. And as we come to a close, you see, leadership doesn't begin with what you know. It begins with how you think. A champion, whether you are a champion in the field, you're a champion in the boardroom, you're a champion at home, or you're a champion on the stage, it is for you to consistently invest in your mindset, because you want to multiply your legacy. That's what champions do. They intentionally invest in their mindset because they want to multiply their legacy. And here's how they demonstrate this. They consistently review the why of their leadership. They consistently review the why of what they are doing. They practice vulnerability. And let us not confuse vulnerability with dumping or oversharing. Vulnerability is not about us dumping everything on others. It's not about us sharing every single detail of our lives and what we're going through. But it is sharing what will actually help our team or our teams to make or to move that needle intentionally. They become essentialists. They focus on the things that effectively move the needle, not just for themselves, but for those around them. And they practice being confident without being arrogant. They practice being confident without being arrogant. And this they do in how they show up for themselves and those who need them. So when you invest in mindset, you multiply your legacy. When you invest in your mindset, you get to multiply the legacy that you leave. And so your legacy is spiritual. Your legacy is spiritual. It is not, your legacy is not physical. Your legacy is actually spiritual. You see, every time the children of Israel were captured and taken away from their inherited land, they would remember their legacy because their legacy was different from their inheritance. Their legacies, their legacy was the principles and the values that they were taught. And when they remembered who they were and whose they were, they became free. And so investing, I'm saying to you, investing in the currency of belief, in the currency of flexibility, in the currency of focus, returns a positive ROI of growth and confidence. And you actually get to multiply your legacy. It is a ripple effect. It is a ripple effect when you multiply your legacy, when you invest in these core currencies that make up a growth mindset. It is a ripple effect. It doesn't just impact you, it impacts those around you. I am open to questions, thoughts, feedbacks.
Thank you very much. So much appreciate your time with this presentation, taking us into the details of it. We are talking about the currency of growth mindset tonight, and a lot has been discussed, talking about your belief system. Very important. What you believe is what you become. What you see is what you become. How you can keep focus on the things that can make you leaving on the side things that are not important at this material time. And having that typical sample by Paul saying that at this particular time of my life, my focus is on this thing and this is what I want to become. And it is important for us, ladies and gentlemen, at a certain point in our life, you have to make it clear what you want to become and what your direction is. Declaring your direction, that keeping focus is what will get people to identify your vision and can align with your vision. But mind you, this is not coming on a silver platter when you decide to do something and keeping focus. It will come with its own challenges. But if you can be steadfast in that, you will surely make a headway. So we thank our speaker for tonight. This is the David Ddouglas Leadership Forum. This is one of our weekly leadership series. We are about 5 minutes into our time. So the question time is going to be brief, and we have to be brief. So we open for question and answers. And if you have questions that you want to ask, what you need to do, raise your hand. We'll give you the opportunity to speak. Whilst we waiting for question and answers, there are a lot of messages in the chat box, and I will take my time to read all of that. So if you have a question, please raise your hand and I'll give you the opportunity to ask your question. So we have one coming from Dr. Tania, Dr. Marcia. So Dr. Marcia is saying you are not the only one. Okay, thank you. So we have, is it Wetla? So thank you for these days. Sometimes it is easier to stay stagnant than to continue to grow. It is easier to stay stagnant because if your mind is stayed on that, that is what it will be. Growth is painful. Yes, it is not coming on a silver platter. You have to have it at the back of your mind. So Dr. Marcia also said, very good point. Growth isn't a buzzword. It involves obedience and surrender, which can come from the appreciation of our detour, delays, challenges, obedience, and surrender. So yeah, we have a lot all these messages in here from Aliza saying great presentation. Yes, that has been a powerful presentation. Pivot without panicking. Yes, you don't need to entertain fear. Well, we have some great men here with us this evening. Professor Piquet, I know you are here with us and you have been with us here from the beginning of this. Prof, yes, I'm unmuting you. Okay, I think Prof is off the line. Okay, all right. Alf is here with us. Alf, you can also make your contribution. But whilst we wait for that, if there is any question, you can go ahead with your question. This has been a wonderful presentation this evening, leading us to how we can grow our mind, how we can be matured, and how we can act and do things as matured people. So once again, this is our weekly leadership series platform, and we have a speaker speaking to us all the way from Jamaica, Tanik Ise. This is our speaker for tonight. Um, growth mindset. Growth mindset. Yes, Alf, you can go ahead. Thank you. We can hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Okay, yeah, we can hear you now.
Yes.
Yeah, great.
Thank you very much, Tanik, for your great presentation. Those that know me probably know that I'm also into mindset and growth mindsets. Got a few friends who've written a few books as well on the topic. And yes, I totally concur with in fact, all of your presentation. And you said the key word for you last year was focus. For me, there were two words: focus and distraction. Because the thing I realized was we get distracted, and it's not necessarily what we are being distracted by is bad. It's just diverting us from the focus. So whether that's church work, helping out your brother, your sister, your cousin, your friend, your whatever, these distractions divert you from your focus at an appropriate time, which would help you grow. So that distraction, even though it's quote good works, it's actually taking you away from it is making a withdrawal rather than a deposit in your words. And these are things that we really have to watch out for. I had the acronym focus as fix your eyes on Jesus. O was overflow with the Spirit. C was call on Christ. U was understand God's word, and S was stand firm in truth. And I mean, you can have variants of this like you have. In fact, I have two more variants, but because of time, I won't release them. But these are things that we have to understand, that we have to be transformed by the renewal of our minds. And
Yes.
if we have the same mindset, one of the we end up, shall we say, marking time. And if, in my opinion, you're marking time, then you're going backwards, because everybody's going forwards and things are relative. Same if you're swimming. And if you're swimming, you have the issue of, if you're not moving forward, you're definitely moving backwards. And even if you're treading water, you might just be surviving, but there's a point that you're going to get tired. And so you have to, as you say, invest and deposit in a positive mindset, doing things to positively move you forward in what you want to achieve, because God is a God of plan, purpose, and design. Nothing happens by chance. We have to be seeking that which our purpose on earth is. And though you talk of the financial concept in mindset, is not necessarily money. It's an investment in your purpose of what you need to achieve on planet Earth before you go to receive your reward in heaven. So right. These are things that one has to put one's mindset in. And I will leave it there, not because I don't have anything more to say, but I'll leave, but thank you very much, Tanik. I'll leave it, Godfrey. I believe you can unmute now, because I'm just looking for hands that are going up to, let me see whether I can unmute you. Okay. See whether you can unmute, Godfrey.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Dave. I really appreciate it. And then thank you so much for the submission too. I have a question, and then my question has to do with what role does resilience play in maintaining a growth mindset?
Say again, what growth does
resilience play in maintaining a growth mindset?
Resilience, did you say? Okay.
Yes, please.
Okay. Tanik, over to you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Godfrey. That's an excellent question. I'm gonna use an analogy to help you and to answer this question for you. If you have ever witnessed a palm tree in a storm, you see, I live in the Caribbean and we are in the hurricane season. And we are in the hurricane season from June to November. And I've gone through many hurricanes in my life. And I've seen a palm tree. We have coconut trees or palm trees. And if you've ever seen a palm tree in a strong wind, bending over almost to breaking, right? The palm tree goes over almost to breaking, but it doesn't break. What happens in that space, in that context, Godfrey, it's that it's becoming more resilient. The roots are stretching so that when it comes back up after that wind, after that storm has passed, the roots actually goes down further and it strengthens. So it stretches and it strengthens the root. And that's what resilience does. That palm tree is resilient in the face of that storm. And so resilience helps us to stretch. It helps us to grow.
Right. Okay.
So I hope that answered your question.
Yes, please. Yes, please.
Okay, excellent.
Right. Thank you so much.
No problem. Thank you for the question, Godfrey. We also have a question in the chat box. I don't know whether you can unmute, from Michael, which says, how can leaders identify and overcome limiting beliefs that hinder their growth? I don't know whether that's cultural. I don't know if that's cultural or what. Well, go on, Tanik.
Yes, but thank you, Hal. But that's another great question, because in identifying our limiting beliefs, and we all have limiting beliefs, it is not just leaders in a specific context. We all have limiting beliefs. But when we learn to identify, and I'm going to reference something that, you know, a very good friend of mine, she's also on this program, Dr. Marcia, she normally says that learn what triggers you and how you trigger others. When you learn about the beliefs and it comes back down to the fear, the doubt, all of those things, when you learn what are your triggers, when you learn to identify, okay, if someone says X to me, or for example, I'm going to use myself, I like when things are neat. And if someone comes in my office and they start scattering my paper, like, I'm going to be triggered by that. Does that mean that that's a limiting belief for me? Not necessarily, but I know what are my triggers. People around me, I tell people around me, or I show people around me, okay, these are the things that I don't like. And when we get to learn to identify those things within us, we can use that as a stepping stone for growth. So learn what are the things And maybe the paper one wasn't such a good example, but learn the things that triggers you. How do you present feedback? I'll use this one too. Feedback. Many of us don't like feedback because we think people are criticizing us, people are nitpicking at us. However, one of the things that as I grew into my leadership journey, as I learned to identify, I asked myself this question: would I receive this feedback that I'm about to give? Would I receive it? Would I receive it wholeheartedly? Would I want to hear that feedback? And if it is something that I would not want to receive or to hear, I tailor that feedback that I'm about to give. And those are some of the things that we can help to identify our limiting beliefs, because feedback, leaders need feedback just as how they give feedback. Many persons believe that as leaders, nobody should tell them certain things about themselves. But as leaders, as you grow, as you develop yourself, you want to get feedback so you can intentionally grow.
Thank you, Dr. Tanik. Let me just add to that. I have a personal saying. I say, know what you know what you don't know the difference, and learn.
Exactly. I love that. And I'm going to borrow it.
Knock yourself out. Because it's so easy for us to think we know, and we don't know that we don't know. So we need to know what we know. Make sure we know what you know. Make sure you know what you don't know. And that's why a lot of us are on this platform, because at least we know we don't know everything. So at least we're learning. But we know the difference, and that's why we're here to learn what we don't know and to make up the difference and add to our count of mindset. Okay, Richard Coda, you may unmute. You've got a question. Michael, thank you for your question.
Okay, good evening from here, Ghana. And my question is about the story behind having a mentorship and also in the habit, because sometimes there's this saying that goes this way, be like when you come out of the storm, you're not the same person who walked through the storm, but when you go around the storm, you're likely to be the same person who just walked behind the storm. So sometimes, for personally, I believe that if you walk through the storm, there are certain things you learn than the person that walks behind the storm. And walking through the storm simply means learning the hard way. And then walking behind the storm simply means for mentoring. That means your mentor kind of guide you so that you avoid some obstacles, which I think literally was meant for you to pass through, break through, to build your muscles for the next tasks ahead. But it's kind of conflicting because now people will be like, if you don't want to waste time, if you want to move to the next level, you have to go for mentorship and all of that. And it's some sort of competitive mindset in this space. So I wanted you to clarify your view on that. Yeah, that is it.
Tanik, do you want to go on that, or do you want me to give a?
Please go ahead and give on.
Okay. From what I understood, because your mic was not that clear, but from what I got from you is sometimes people go through the storm, others go around the storm. When you go through the storm, you go through and you come out the other side, shall we say, well weathered. And there are two schools of thought. Both of them are correct. However, the storm is there not because you have to in order to climb, you have to go up the tree. I am I play squash. I play badminton. I practice. I have played since, I've played badminton and squash for 40 years now, 45 years plus, right? Now, what I can do on a squash court and what you can do on a squash court, I can guarantee you is completely different. Why is that? Because I've put the blood, the sweat, and the toil. I've added to, as Tanik says, my account, my mindset account of how to win, how to lose, how to take the fall, how to give up, how not to give up, how to push the extra mile, because I have been through I played German league. I played for my university in badminton, and so you know what's at stake. Do you want to give up? Can you go the extra mile? Now, if you go behind the storm, and you just play for fun, you'll never know that kind of endurance. So when you're in the boardroom, when you are meeting the people and you're talking about experiences, right? You'll see people like Elon Musk, who is now, I don't know whether he's persona non grata or whatever, but when he's doing his SpaceX, right? I did return to shuttle. I returned to flight of the shuttle as a space engineer, right? I know what it takes to fly a rocket, full stop. And I know what it takes to put a person on a rocket and fly a rocket to space. At the same time, you'll see Elon Musk flying rockets like, he's not burning cash. The point is, when Elon Musk flies a rocket in SpaceX, what he's doing is testing the limitations, right? Nobody has done it before. Before SpaceX, trust me, we had NASA and Russia that could fly anything to space to the International Space Station, right? And there were limitations to that. Elon Musk has a completely different philosophy. Let's fly it. If it blows up, we'll learn why it blew up. Now, some of us, we don't know the first thing about flying a rocket, right? Even if we were to put, a bottle of Coca-Cola and turn it upside down, put it on the ground and fly it, or we put a firework and light it. That's about all we know, right? So we have to, shall we say, you have to know the experience in order to know what can become of the on the other side. So you are there, you're asking about going through the storm. Tanika said she has been through many hurricanes, right? Trust me, if you were in the same hurricane as Tanik, right, your experience is not going to be the same. She will know where to go hide, what to do, when to do it, etc. You're going to say, Tanik, what do I do? Right? Because she's been there, she's lived it, she's seen the palm trees strong and mighty and bend over. She knows where to go and be, so that storm doesn't take her life. So she's added to her investment portfolio, so to speak, in terms of her account on knowledge of how to live through a storm. Is this the storm that I have to move away from the coast? Or is this the storm that I can stay in my house in a bunker and I'll be fine? She has that experience, verging on a level of probability, but she has that experience. And some of the things that we do in business are along the same lines, are definitely along the same lines. Is this person somebody I deal with? What about him and my knowledge of the business is not right? What am I supposed to do here? Do I do it or don't I do it? And those are the things that you have to decide that, okay, I have to learn this. I'll go through it. It looks like a good deal. you might get burnt and it might go wrong. And those are the things that you learn from. Okay, I've seen this before. I don't go down that route. That's something that I am not going to do again, but I've learned it. Hopefully it won't be too painful, and then you go down. But you cannot live in fear. You have to make an investment. And if you make the investment, you know that, okay, I didn't go with him, and the guy and the business deal has succeeded with another person. Okay, what did I learn from that failure? A failure is not a failure unless you didn't learn from it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's the thing, because we're not always going to get it right. Sometimes we're going to get it wrong, but it's not a failure until you do not learn from it. You must learn from it. Everything that happens in life, as Tanik was saying earlier, you have to, well, implying earlier, you have to learn from it. Every situation, there is no situation, as I put it sometimes, God is a God of plan, purpose, and design. Nothing happens to you by chance, right? So everything that comes your way, you learn from it in some way, shape, or form. Tanik?
Agree. Definitely agree with you on that, Alf, that everything happens for us, not to us. And we like, many of us, when we're going through a storm, we sometimes when we go through that storm, we can either come out on the other side of good, or we can actually spiritually die in that storm, so to speak, because we are going through it, but we are not becoming what it is shaping us to become. We actually leave ourselves in there, and when we come out, we are emotionally dead, spiritually dead, on that because we have come out of that storm not knowing. But as Al said, everything that we go through is to teach us in one way, shape, or another. When we fail is when we did not learn. As Nelson Mandela says, we either win or we learn. We don't lose, we don't fail.
Unless you
we
choose.
either win or we learn.
I totally concur. Richard, are you good with that answer? Or did you want further clarification? Richard?
Yeah. I'm clarified. I'm clarified about, so, which means that it's necessary for each and every individual to go through the storm meant for him or her in order to, yeah, I get it now.
Excellent. Excellent.
Yes.
Thank you. Melissa, I think we'll take you as the last question now, because I think everybody has graced us with their time. Thank you very much for that. Melissa?
All right, thank you so much, Al. Tani, great presentation. For me, it's not a question, but a takeaway. When Tanik shared the analogy with the netball and how you have to stand firm before you pivot. And when I think about it, I'm also thinking that even before you pivot, you have to know where you are going to put the ball, and you have to be quick. Because if you're not quick, then the referee is going to stop you and give the next side the ball. And I'm looking back at my own life and I'm asking myself, where in my life I am standing still too long? Because sometimes I believe, because of a limiting belief, I stand still for too long and don't move. And because of that, I give my opponent the opportunity to take the ball away from me. And it also brings me back to a book that I recently read, Who Moved My Cheese, with the 4 little people. And the 2 little people, they move ahead quickly because they recognize that the cheese was going down and it is time for them to move. And then you have the other 2 little people who overcomplicate the situation because of their mindset. So, Tanik, I just want to share that. And presentation was very good. I received a lot of nuggets from what you shared. And I hope and trust that God will continue to empower you and give you the insight for you to continue to share your experiences and your expertise with others.
Thank you, Melissa.
Thank you. I think I'm going to become David for 30 seconds or so. I think he's traveling and he's managed to start the presentation and carry on during the presentation, but I think he's on his way back from the mountains in Ghana. So thank you very much all for coming. Thank you very much, Tanika. Is it easy or easy?
Yes, easy.
Easy. Okay. Thank you very much, Tanik. Very much appreciated. Great presentation, as is also said by Marcia and Melissa. And Marcia says, excellent point. Every decision you make is either deposit or withdrawal. That's a definitely key takeaway. And thanks for sharing your experience. I echo Melissa's points in everything that you said. I echo your presentation points in all you said. This presentation can be found on the David Ddouglas forum, so you can. It's recorded. The questions, obviously, the recording stopped at just after the question time, so you might not hear the questions, but the rest of it is all there. Do us a favor and do yourself a favor. I would suggest that you redo the presentation, re-listen to it, rewatch it, however you want to put it, take your notes and add to your account. There is no glass ceiling unless you put one there. So thank you very much. Thank you very much from the David Ddouglas Forum. And next week, same time, same place. Thank you very much again, Tanik. May the Lord continue to bless you, continue to give you wisdom that you may share, that you may be blessed to bless others as you have done tonight. Thank you very much and good night.
All right. Thank you. Thank you so much, Alf. I just want to say thank you to David and to the team. And I just wanted to say that if this message resonated with anyone this evening, because it's a kind of transformation that we all need in our lives, whether we are leaders in the boardroom, in the church, or in any organization at all. We need this kind of transformation. So I'd love to partner with anyone who is listening. And I offer these training workshops and custom sessions to help high-level professionals and teams shift from surviving to leading with purpose. And I do it through the lens of my MVP framework, which this workshop tonight was a part of. You're muted, Alf, if you're talking.
Very well. Very well. Alf, I can see you. My internet is not stable, but next week we are not meeting. We are celebrating the Father's Day. So we will be meeting the following week and we will share the topics as to what that will be. Thank you all. Thank you, Alf, for holding the brief. Yes, I'm traveling. I've just got seated now. Okay, thank everybody. Alf, all right. Alf, I'm off the hook. It's back to you. No, you are still the co-host. When I came in, they asked me.
Okay.
Yes,
okay.
yes.
I'm back.
Yes,
okay.
yes.
So as
right.
David, okay, thanks, David. So thanks very much again.